Ogundabe is fired up to give us all of the updates. Tolu.
Thank you so much, Abosede. And we'll start with news just in. President Bola Tinubu has appointed former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Attahiru Jega, as advisor and coordinator of the presidential livestock reform. The president announced the appointment with the hope to drive meaningful progress and in the livestock sector. Professor Jega, who is a former Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, co-chaired the Presidential Livestock Committee with President Tinubu. The committee delivered comprehensive recommendations that underscored sustainable livestock reforms. One recommendation was the creation of the Livestock Ministry, which now has a minister. NGX Exchange has rallied support for Nigerian women in business while celebrating this year's International Women's Day in Lagos. Effiong Ekop brings details in this report.
Women from all walks of life gathered at the Nigerian Exchange Limited in Lagos, reflecting on the essence of the International Women's Day. With the theme, Accelerate Action for All Women, speakers at the event look back at the long journey of women's gender equality struggles.
Women continue to face barriers that limit their potential. Unfortunately for all women, not everybody has the digital DG as their head. So we need to encourage more industries, more private sector players, more government. I mean, we need to start with government first of all and at least get that 30%. We need to encourage everyone to be more inclusive of women. Today we stand together to challenge that narrative and dismantle the barriers that persist. For decades, women have faced systemic barriers, structural biases, internal biases, cultural expectations in business and finance, and unequal access to opportunities.
There are calls for more attention on women's education, health and social welfare. The girl child needs to be guided from infants to adulthood, just as those in businesses need to be encouraged with access to capital and patronage.
Whether you're a man or a woman, you're a part of the system. And so instead of focusing on how prepared the women are, we should focus on how the system is able to prepare the women. Today, the system is not very positive in terms of how prepared we are.
A panel session advocated training and empowerment of women, noting that a nation prospers when its women participate in leadership and decision-making processes.
We have the professionals, we have the expertise.
Capital market leaders and officials of the exchange all pledge support for women's roles in the society. The International Women's Day is celebrated yearly on March 8th for freedom and gender equality. Effiong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency is pushing for a reduction in war risk insurance premiums on ships headed to Nigerian ports. The agency points to significant improvements in maritime security across the Gulf of Guinea as a reason for the review. The appeal was made during a meeting with the delegation from Denmark's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Lagos. TVC News senior business correspondent Ifunaya Eze reports.
Officials from Denmark's Ministry of Foreign Affairs met with NIMASA's leadership at the agency's headquarters in Lagos. The Executive Director of Finance, Chudi Ofodile, represented NIMASA's Director General in the discussions, which focused on maritime security and strategic collaborations, including partnerships with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center on conflict resolution and capacity building.
What we're interested in is to hear your experience with the cooperation with the Kofi Annan Center so far. What have been the, highlights, and I don't know if there's been any down points, but also if you have any suggestions regarding women in the maritime sector. But overall, it's also really interesting to hear Nigeria's perspectives on the domain of, maritime security.
The intervention in that area by NIMASA, I'm sure you're aware of the Deep Blue project, which was commissioned in 2021, and the impact of that program. Now, one of the issues we also need to look at is how has the the international community responded to that effort.
Nimasa stressed that despite Nigeria's enhanced security measures in the region, the international community has yet to respond accordingly, particularly in reviewing the high war risk insurance premiums imposed on vessels bound for the country.
We expect that, given the commitment we've made as an agency and as a country, that war risk insurance premium ought to have come down. And so with this this cooperation we seek with the Danish government, we expect that premium and freight costs and other issues will have to be addressed by the international community.
At the close of discussions, Nimasa reaffirmed his commitment to working with Denmark to advance shared maritime security goals. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, the stock market ended the week in red as trade indices dipped again following losses. The index came down by 0.23%.